Hello, good morning. Today we're going to be factoring quadratics in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So the same form as we did yesterday, except instead of using factoring by grouping, I'm going to teach you another method called bottoms up. These are the two methods that I would recommend anytime that you have a value in front of your x squared term other than 1. So the first step is to factor out the greatest common factor if possible. If it doesn't exist, you don't have to do that step. Typically, if it's a negative number, you want to factor out a -1 just so that you don't have to deal with that negative at the end. But you don't have to, of course. And then the other thing is if everything's divisible by 5, you divide by 5. If everything's divisible by 3, you have to divide by 3. Otherwise, when you end up getting your two factors at the very end as your two parenthesis factors, you won't have a actual value to FOIL back out to create the original value. So the ax squared plus bx plus c wouldn't actually FOIL out of your actual answer. So once you do that, you're going to do, again, just like the grouping, you're going to multiply a by c. Then you're going to find factors of a and c that add up to b. But instead of writing them as groups, like 5, as the x squared, x, and then the c term, you are actually going to just simply write them as they are. So if you look at the example below, that would be 15 and -3. So I just write x plus 15, x minus 3. Then I divide by my original a, which in this case is 5, and then I reduce it. So 15 divided by 5 is 3, and -3 divided by 3 is just -3/5. And so at this point, it is called the bottom up. So you take the bottom, if there is a denominator in any of your terms or both terms, and bring it up to the front. So you bring the bottom up. So then your final factor would be x plus 3 times 5x minus 3. Or, again, you could have it in a different order, 5x minus 3 times x plus 3. Both would get you the exact same way. So here we go. We're going to do this with the first one. If we are looking at this one here, the first step is to factor out your greatest common factor if possible. Like I said earlier, if you have a negative value, you really want to factor out that -1. That way everything flips signs and it makes it just a little bit easier to factor and remember that you don't have to divide by the -3 at the end. You're just dividing by 3. Our next step is to take our a, so our new a, and our c, and we're going to multiply them by each other. So 3 times 1 gives us 3. Now this one's kind of easy because there's only two factors of 3, and that's 1 and 3. So 1 plus 3 gives us 4, which is our b term, and 1 times 3 gives us our c, our new c term, which is 3. So it ends up working out. So we rewrite it as x plus 1 and x plus 3. Once we have that, then we are going to divide by our original a and simplify. So our original a is actually going to be this one here once we factored out the greatest common factor. So it is a positive 3. And then we reduce these. So x plus 1/3 is just x plus 1/3. We can't reduce anything. But over here, x plus 3 divided by 3, well, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So it reduces to 1. Our last step here is to do the bottoms up. So we are going to bring that bottom up. There is no bottom in the second term, so it just remains as it is. So our final answer is 3x plus 1 times x plus 1. Now, when you are working on your assignment today, I have no problem. If bottoms up is like not your thing, you don't want to do it, and you always want to factor by grouping, you can always factor by grouping. If you want to factor by using the bottoms up method, whenever you have a value in front of your a term, that's completely fine. But again, you can only use these two methods when you have a value in front of your a term, or in front of your x squared term. So there is an a value is what I'm saying. All right, so our next one here, we have 2x squared plus x minus 6. So in this case, there is no greatest common factor other than positive 1. So we're just going to start by multiplying a by c. So this gives us -12. So we now have to figure out factors of -12 that add up to our b term, which in this case is a 1x. So remember that because our c is negative, we need to have a negative and a positive term. But since our b is positive, our positive value needs to be the biggest. So 4 plus -3 gives us 1. And 4 times negative 3 gives us our new c value, which in this case is negative 12. So it does work. Then we write our factors as x plus 4 and x minus 3. Our next step is to divide by our original a, which in this case is our 2 right here. So we reduce to x plus 2, or x plus 2 over 1, which again, that's 2. And over here, the x minus 3 over 2 remains 3 over 2. We don't write it as 1.5. Just keep it as it is. And then our final step is if there is any bottoms remaining, we bring them up. So x plus 2 and 2x minus 3. Now again, if you want to, you can always FOIL these back out. So do first, outer, inner, last, and combine your like terms in the middle, and you will end up with 2x squared plus 1x minus 6, which is our original starting point. Okay, example number 3 here. So here we have 60x squared plus 11x minus 1. The only thing we have as our greatest common factor is 1, so we do not have to do that first step. So we jump to step number 2, which is a times our c, which gives us negative 60. So now we're going to need to figure out factors of negative 60 that add up to 11. So over here, we know 15 and 4, when multiplied, give us 60, and when added together, give us 11. Remember that it would be 15 plus negative 4 would give us 11, and 15 times negative 4 gives us negative 60. And we have to have those negative positives because our c value is negative, but our b value is positive. So again, the larger term is positive. Our next term here is going to be x plus 15 times x minus 4. And in this case, we are going to divide by our original a, which we have as 60. And then we're going to reduce for step number 5, which will be x plus 15 can go into both 15 and 60, so that gives us 1 over 4. And then on this one, 4 and 6, 4 goes into both of them, so we have x minus 1 over 15. Now, this is the first time that we've actually had both of them having a bottoms up, which is completely fine. It does happen. We just have to put the bottoms up on both of them. So in this case, our final answer is 4x plus 1 multiplied by the factor of 15x minus 1. Now, I do have one last example for you to look at, and you can try this one on your own. I've actually already worked it out, so all I have to do is erase the white. So at this time, if you'd like to pause the video to see if you can actually do this one on your own, please feel free to do so. There is a homework assignment on Canvas for you to practice before you take your quiz. Your quiz today on Edge Elastic is also either method. So if you want to do factor by grouping, if you want to factor by the bottoms up method, doesn't matter to me as long as you get the factors. A lot of you sent me emails last time because you put it in the wrong format, like you put a space or you use the wrong thing. Make sure you're using parentheses, not brackets. Make sure you don't put spaces. So just put parenthesis 4x plus 1, close parenthesis. Start parenthesis 15x minus 1, close parenthesis. This should alleviate a lot of those missed values. Again, I'll still go back through and check that you have everything correct. And here is your answer. There we go. All right, so this one kind of got erased here, so I'll fix that. And this is a 2, so it would be 12 times negative 2, which is negative 24. There we go. Everything else is there. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.